everybody, I'm Joey Paul and I'm an indie author and welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to be talking about editors. I know it's been a while since I did a video on the publishing side of things. I also know that I have talked about editors a whole ton, but I thought I would do a video a little different to my other one on editors, and that is to list 5 things about editing and more on the types of editors I use. So here we go. Number 1. Editing creates a better book. When you're creating, you're so focused on that part of it that it's hard to see the forest for the trees sometimes. You're too close to the story to be able to see the mistakes you might have made, whether that's grammar or spelling or plot holes you've missed. While you can do a self-edit, it doesn't take the place of a professional editor going through it with a fine-tooth comb. And editing turns your story from one with possible errors to the best it can possibly be. There are no two ways about it. No one's completely first draft is good enough to be published. I mean, there are people who do, but they generally also don't do well with those stories. Editing is not an optional step, and it's something that can help you grow as a writer. It can show you your weaknesses and also your strengths. And it can help you grow your skill and talent, and that's something you can't do without someone new coming in and looking over your work. So editing, the long drawn out process, will create a better book than you on your own can do. Which leads to number 2. Mistakes can cost you readers. Think about it. If no one but you reads your book, how will you know if there are mistakes or glaring errors? If you don't get a book edited, then it seriously costs you readership. And once that book's released, while you can unpublish it, the word will still spread from reader to reader that the story isn't as good as it sounds. The editing process can get you a completely different view. It can make sure that you release a book that is whole and complete. I mean, sure, you can unpublish a book, edit it properly and then republish, but why go through that? Why not just do the steps right the first time around and produce the best novel you can? Readers will thank you for it, and later on in your career, you will thank yourself as well. Number 3. It's a necessary part of the process. I hate the editing process. Not because it means lots of work, but because it's just not my favourite part of the process. I much prefer drafting and making tweaks here and there, and I love hearing CP and beta feedback, but when it comes to sending it off to my editor, it fills me with dread. It's nothing to do with any of my editing team and just me as a person. I do not like tearing my work to shreds and with other people watching. But as I've gotten into the whole publishing process, I've never skipped this step. It may not be my favourite, but it is very much a necessary part. No matter who you are, you can't just not do it if you expect readers to want to read or for your book to sell well. It's exactly the same as cover design and marketing. You can't just skip any of these and expect to attract the right audience and keep them. Number 4. It can open you up to more ideas for the story as a whole. Part of editing is looking not just at the small pieces, but as a whole. I don't know about planners because I mostly pants, but sometimes I will have a thread that I didn't think means anything, and it's only going through it with an editor that I realise it does have meaning. My editor says these are my genius moments when my brain kind of knows what it has planned but doesn't always make it clear to me. It's times like that when you realise that you've threaded this whole thing through the book that you didn't even think was there. Like with some of my crime novels, I've planned to thread a certain villain and then have ended up writing a different kind of ending, thinking I need to do more foreshadowing, when actually I've been doing it all along. And I think that's pretty cool to find out. Like I said, I don't know if this happens with people who plan extensively, but it's happened to me more than once, and it's something that makes the editing process a lot easier. And finally, number 5. You can fix the issues before publication. This is a big one for me because I've gone through betas and CPs and gotten to edits, and only then have I spotted a huge problem. It's not that no one else was paying attention, it's just that until my editor looked at the story as a whole, it didn't make itself obvious. And because of this, I've been able to fix those issues long before it even goes to ARC readers, let alone publication. It may not be my favourite part of the process, but I would hate to put a book out that had massive plot holes. I would hate to have readers telling me that the book makes no sense because I left a huge thread dangling and didn't close it. And that's why editing is so important. Better to find out before than after. It can be a nightmare. So let's talk about my editing team. I go through a similar process to a lot of other indie authors, and some traditional authors will follow parts of this process too. So step 1 is my edit. This usually involves me going back through the book after letting it sit for a while. If it's part of a series, I'll reread the one before it to make sure I'm good for facts and memory checks. I'll also bring the character note cards to make sure that I get descriptions right and consistent. I don't want someone having black hair and brown eyes in one book and brown hair and blue eyes in another. This usually takes me about a month to complete, where I go through chapter by chapter and rewrite where needed. I'll also do some grammar stuff, but it's more the big plot points that I'm looking at. Does it all make sense? Is everything there that needs to be? That kind of thing, and once it's done, I'll read through it again from start to finish to be sure I'm happy with it. Step 2 is beta rounds. These can be anything from the usual 2 rounds to as many as needed. I think the max I ever did was 5, but that was also a very hard book to edit and work with. So this is the stuff that you should all know. Beta readers are a group of about 10 to 15 people within your target audience who read the book in blocks. Sometimes it's chapters, sometimes it's a bunch of chapters. They'll mark notes and will fill out a questionnaire at the end giving you their thoughts on the chapter. They'll be pointing out what works, making any predictions, and making sure they know which characters are reading as what. They'll also be letting you know what they don't like. I usually have some sensitivity readers in this group, and for them it's making sure that I'm not perpetuating harmful stereotypes for characters of colour, or disability, or sexuality, or gender, etc. This can take anywhere from a month to 3 to get completely done. Once one round is finished, I edit and implement the changes, and then recruit another group of new faces, and go through it again and again until I have the clean copy. Step 3, the developmental editor. I recently changed editing teams. I used to have an editor who did both developmental and line edits, but she no longer works in fiction. So this is Kim. She's a long-time friend, but also someone who works as an editor. She will not just be looking for things like grammar and such, but she'll be also looking at plot points and the characters. She'll be making sure that everything works, that there are no plot holes or loose ends, and also making sure that any character interactions are true to what I want to project. This usually takes about 3 months, though I know that seems like a long time, but it's our best way of working to allow her time to read and me time to give the edits and go over them with her. With my conditions limiting my schedule, this gives me enough time to actually work on the edits without a huge deadline looming. It may not work for you, but it does for me, and that's what's important. Step 4 is the line editor. As I've said, I used to use Tony for both line and developmental, but now I use Bea, who is also my best friend and cover designer. She's got the training and is an avid reader, so she's more than qualified to do line edits. Line editing involves going through line by line and working out if it all works as a whole. This will be things like clunky sentences or sentence structure that doesn't work. Should also point out any developmental issues that might have been missed or need to be changed. She usually does this all within a month, and again I make the edits alongside her work so I know where she's up to and all of that. And finally, step 5 is my proofreader. I was able to keep my old proofreader, so Natalie is a fellow writer and has been doing the proofreading for me for years. She will take the final draft and she'll go through to make sure the grammar and spelling is all good. She'll make sure there's nothing left in the document that shouldn't be there, that it's all formatted correctly, and that usually takes her about a month again. And then the book is ready to be sent to be published and out to art readers. So that's my process, that's things you should remember about editing, and that's what I use and how it goes for me. So how do you approach editing, the self-edit? How do you work through it? Do you give yourself time before you go into it, or do you head straight into there straight after finishing the draft? Do you have any questions about editing? Do you have any questions about working with editors? If you do, let me know in the comment section below. So that's all I've got time for today. If you want to support my channel, you can comment, subscribe, or like. I post new videos on Thursdays. You can find me all over social media, and my books are available everywhere. And don't forget to pick up Lights Out, all the links to which are listed below. Thanks for watching, and remember to keep writing. Bye!